Myanmar became independent in 1948 from the British rule. Since then, the Rohingya Muslims, a minority religious group in Rakhine state of Myanmar, were kept as a neglected ethnic group. Even in the democratic elections in November 2015, Muslims in Rakhine state were neither allowed to participate as candidates nor as voters, unlike in all previous elections since independence in 1948.
The Muslims in Rakhine state had always been suppressed by the Burmese authorities. The Rohingyas always looked for a safe place to avoid the oppression of Burma. They began to migrate to neighboring Bangladesh in small groups about 60 or 70 years ago, since 1970s.
At some stage, the oppressions of Myanmar authorities were so unbearable that a rebel organization called Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, ARSA, was formed in the name of protecting the Rohingya Muslims, and on August 25, 2017, they attacked the Myanmar security forces. Responding to that attack, the Myanmar authorities unleashed their brutal actions, which was termed by the United Nations as ethnic cleansing.
Mass gang rapes, killings, including of babies and young children, brutal beatings, disappearances, and other serious human rights violations by Myanmar security forces in a sealed-off area north of Mong Dao in northern Rakhine State have been detailed in the report that our team has put together.
Thousands of Rohingya Muslims were killed, hundreds of Rohingya women raped, and their villages were burnt.
The helpless Rohingyas started fleeing the Rakhine state to save their lives. Many of them crossed the Naf River to take shelter in unknown jungles and hills of Cox's Bazar, Bangladesh. As the atrocities and oppression on Rohingyas increased, the influx of fleeing Rohingyas amplified by multiple numbers.
Since August 25, 2017, more than 700,000 Rohingyas fled Myanmar and took shelter in Bangladesh. They found Bangladesh, their closest neighbor, as a safe place to live. They joined the 300,000 Rohingyas living in various camps who came earlier.
Not only the Muslims, few hundreds of Hindus also had to flee from Rakhine state to avoid the brutality of the Myanmar security forces and for safety. They have also taken shelter in the Cox's Bazar refugee camps.
The government of Bangladesh welcomed the Rohingya refugees and built camps in hilly lands of Cox's Bazar. Local people of Cox's Bazar and adjacent areas, various national and international and voluntary organizations, and the United Nations extended their help for the hopeless Rohingyas.
The Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, visited Cox's Bazar Rohingya camps on September 12, 2017 and assured safety and security.
Stop it. And side by side, Myanmar government, they should have handled this situation patiently. They should not have allowed the army or their law enforcement agency to attack the common people. What is the crime of the children or women or the innocent people? Because these people, innocent people, the children, women, they are suffering. So these people, they belong to Myanmar. Hundreds years they are staying there. How they can deny that they are not their citizens?
It has been more than a year since the Burmese military began a violent campaign to force ethnic minorities to leave Myanmar's Rakhine state. Described by the United Nations as ethnic cleansing, witnesses say the military campaign to forcibly remove Rohingya populations from Myanmar included razing entire villages and separating families. More than 25,000 were killed, and thousands of women and girls were sexually abused and assaulted. Since then, more than 700,000 Rohingya have fled to the neighboring Bangladesh to escape the violence. Many have settled in refugee camps along Bangladesh's southeast coast. One such camp is near a small town called Cox's Bazar, which I happened to visit. Here is the story. This is Kutupalong Rohingya camp in Madhuchhara, Ukhia. The women here are busy going about their daily chores. Among them, Nayuma, who is 7 months pregnant. She doesn't trust strangers, but she was willing to tell us why she fled Myanmar.
The Mogs have burned down our homes, killing our people, and that is why we managed to escape and save our lives.
Next to the straw fence of the tiny hut she calls home, Nayuma's husband sits on a muddy floor, eating what may be his only meal today. On this day, Nayuma remembers her brother.
Myanmar army shot my brother dead in front of my very eyes.
Nearly all of Nayuma's neighbors have similar story. Arifa Begum was one of the lucky ones. She was able to save her children.
Myanmar military killed my husband and burnt my house.
Hasina Akhtar watched as soldiers shot her husband. She fled to Bangladesh with the help of a neighbor.
My children miss their father a lot. They call his name and cry.
There are thousands of families like hers. Many witnessed firsthand the atrocities committed by the Burmese soldiers, the mass killings, the sexual abuse, the burned houses, entire families destroyed. Many of the women and girls who were raped still suffer from physical and emotional trauma. Dr. Sayeeda Kabir, a Bangladeshi-American physician from the USA, says most of the camps lack the necessary facilities to treat them, but she visits the camp to volunteer whatever she can.
Instead of giving her birth control pills, I'm giving her a family planning shot, which will cover 3 months. We will give her some dawai, medicine.
But Dr. Kabir says the camps need more than just medicine. Hope Foundation Bangladesh, a non-government organization, has opened medical centers in some of the camps, but the foundation says it can't do it alone. These camps are growing more crowded. Local authorities estimated about 60,000 children will be born in these camps each year, increasing the need for food, for medicine, and for shelter. There is a saying that it takes a village to care for one child, but the Hope Foundation says it will take the international community to solve the Rohingya crisis. The Rohingya issue became an international issue of concern and drew the attention of the United Nations, European Union, the USA, Africa, and the entire world.
World's largest refugee influx became the headlines of international press and digital media, social media. Aid agencies, United Nations, voluntary organizations, NGOs and individuals extended their hands of cooperation, helping the Rohingyas.
The international community began pressing the Myanmar's authorities to solve the crisis.
It's realistic to expect that we will be facing a continuing problem to deal with in Bangladesh.
I hope to hear that they're making progress. Of course, in order for that to really happen, conditions have to be recreated in Rakhine state for the refugees to return.
Journalists and observers were not allowed to go to Rakhine state to see the real situation there.
On November 23, 2017, an agreement was signed between Myanmar and Bangladesh to solve the crisis. According to the agreement, Myanmar agreed to take all Rohingya refugees back to Myanmar after checking their proper identities. The agreement is still to be implemented in preparation, still on for the repatriation process.
The international community criticized the role of Aung San Suu Kyi, the de facto leader of Myanmar, for her failure to solve the crisis.
Since the 5th of September, there have been no armed clashes and there have been no clearance operations. Nevertheless, we are concerned to hear that numbers of Muslims are fleeing across the border to Bangladesh. We want to find out why this exodus is happening. We would like to talk to those who have fled as well as to those who have stayed.
Eminent international personalities, including 3 Nobel Prize laureates, UN Secretary General, US Government Top Advisor Lisa Curtis, VOA Director Amanda Bennett, visited the Rohingya camps in Cox's Bazar and urged the international community to come forward to solve the crisis by creating pressure to take back the Rohingya refugees by ensuring their safety in Myanmar.
One of, if not the most discriminated people in the world, without any recognition of the most basic rights, starting by the recognition of the right of citizenship.
The U.S. will remain committed to supporting the Bangladeshi government in helping the Rohingya people, and we look forward to continuing to work together to make sure that these vulnerable people stay safe and protected and that their needs are provided for.
Genocide against innocent people. Millions people been displaced from their cities. Women been raped.
Good recommendations, but the ground reality is nothing has happened.
If we remain silent, we are indeed complicit with this crime of genocide, this crime of inhumanity, this cruelty, this desperation to destroy a people. Stop killing, stop genocide. Return those people to their countries, give them their equal citizenship, their all rights, or as I said, resign or you will face persecution.
The government of Bangladesh recently announced a temporary shelter has been built at Vashanchor, an island near Hatia Upazila, for the Rohingyas. The government hopes to move 100,000 refugees from the Cox's Bazar camps.
Meanwhile, the Rohingyas are living under inhuman conditions in Cox's Bazar's unhealthy and rain-soaked filthy refugee camps. They lack food, pure drinking water, and medicine. Moreover, the heavy rain, storm, and other natural disasters are causing them to fight similar struggle they experienced in Rakhine state. Still, they are passing every moment in the camps with hope and luck.
আমার পেছনে বিশ্ব খাদ্য কর্মসূচির ত্রাণের গাড়ি এখানে প্রত্যেকদিন কিছুক্ষণ পর পর এরকম বিভিন্ন সংস্থার গাড়ি
As you can see behind me, Different aid agencies are distributing food and other essentials to the refugees every day. But many of them complain that they are not getting relief materials as they are supposed to get. They said instead they get some help after 20 or 30 days. Why? Nobody knows. They said it is because of the lack of management.
Selim Hussain, Voice of America, Ukhia, Cox's Bazar.